Hey guys, Thomas here from FastTrackFBA, and today I want to talk about the 4 things I'm going to be doing in May in my Amazon arbitrage business. Stay tuned. Okay guys, so today what I want to be talking about is the 4 things I'm going to be doing in my Amazon arbitrage business. So look, I'm going to give you a quick summary and then I'm going to deep dive into each one. Number 1, I'm going to be shipping in all stock which I can now ship, which was previously ineligible to ship in. Number 2, I'm going to be keeping a close eye on my repricer, especially my minimums, and I'm going to explain why in a bit. Number 3, I've got a purchasing manager, a new purchasing manager in position, and I'm going to talk through what I've done with them and some top tips that might help you as well in the way you think about purchasing. And then number 4, I'm going to network. I'm going to network like there is no tomorrow, and I'll explain why later on. So let's get started. Okay, so number 1, quite simply, I'm going to be shipping in all the stock that I couldn't previously ship in. So as you know, obviously Corona is still very much, a problem right now in the UK. If you don't know, I'm out in Vietnam, so I'm very lucky. Right now, we've finished our lockdown and we've had no new cases for a number of days. But my business is UK based and I've still got a lot of stock in my warehouse that I need to get into Amazon. So we are pushing to get that stock into Amazon as quickly as possible. Because hey, you know what? It's sales, it's money, it's an investment I made. I want to make that happen. So number 1, getting my stock into Amazon, which I couldn't previously sell. So number 2, what I'm looking at doing is focusing on my repricer and in particular my minimums. Let's just say there are some products which I have purchased during this period which are selling insane volumes during Corona. They are great opportunities. They're giving me great margins and obviously great volumes. Now the one thing which I'm really aware of is outside of Corona, they probably aren't selling as well. I can see that looking at the keeper charts, looking at the keeper data. I'm not going to make a loss, but the volume they're selling is just not the same level. If I give an example, one item of cat food, my sourcing tool, FBA multi-tool, was telling me it's selling 70 a month. I was selling 10 a day of that product, like completely different league. And I can see from the keeper chart, outside of Corona, it's selling 3 to 5 a month. So very, very different. The reason why I'm going to be keeping an eye on my minimum repricing is because what I don't want to happen is when Corona stops, when obviously people start getting out and they start shopping again, I don't want to be left with a lot of dead stock. So if I need to sell out that stock, clear it down, even at break even or a small loss, I'd much rather do that than hold on to it for potentially months, if not years, because obviously I've misjudged the end of that situation and I've misjudged the sales. So I'm really acutely aware of sales volumes during Corona are very different to what they will be once Corona finishes. So hoping, fingers crossed, Corona lockdown finishes soon, everyone's safe, but also as well the impact that'll have on my business. So number 2, keeping an eye on my repricer, in particular my minimums of those lines which are quite Corona sensitive. Number 3 is I've got a new purchasing manager. Now I've basically taken on a new manager to do my purchasing and he's doing a fantastic job. He's been sourcing with me for a number of years and he's now stepped up into a purchasing role. I'm super happy and I'm super excited. And I've spent so much time, and if I were to tell you, I've probably spent 3 to 4 hours a day for 2.5 weeks now, and it will soon be another week, whereby then I feel happy. And that is a lot of time, a lot of investment with that person. Now, interesting enough, we have gone through everything from looking at his day plans, how he structures his days, what he does, how he communicates with the team, how he communicates, with the wider business, what he does in looking at opportunities in the marketplaces, and how he should really structure his purchasing decisions and real in-depth deal analysis. And if I kind of just deep dive into some of them quite quickly, and obviously I could probably do a whole video on each one of them, but if I just talk you a couple of examples. So number 1, we talked about how he structures his day. So First things first is his day is not about sourcing. He does zero sourcing. Now, we structured his day in the fact that he has like a morning session and an afternoon session. And in each session, the priority is to purchase. It isn't about reviewing deals. It isn't about anything else. It is solely about purchasing. There was a recent sale on at Playmobil, and we put through, we put a lot of deals into our internal workflow that he was reviewing. When he came back to buy them, interesting enough, they were sold out, or the price had changed. Now, interesting enough, I said to him, you just want to get in there. You just want to buy these deals. The moment you can buy them, get them sold or get them bought. Because at the end of the day, it's not about reviewing deals. It's not about anything else. It's literally about purchasing that product. Because once it's purchased, then we can get it into our workflow and ship it into Amazon. So number one for him was about purchasing rather than doing anything else. Also in his workflow, interesting enough, not only him, but also in my FastTrackFBA business, which we do leads, I'm now challenging my senior team members to take 2 hours a week out to pretty much do nothing, like literally nothing. And by that, what I want them to do is I want them to look at what's going on in their business. I want them to understand what's working and ask big questions about, can we do it better? And the reason why I ask this is a lot of what we've learned from the VA Academy about sourcing, about, should we say, deal analysis, and especially during this Corona time, is the fact that when you stop for a second and you look objectively about how you're sourcing, what you start to notice is there are certain things which do really great results and other things which don't. Call it the 80-20 rule, I don't know. But if you just understand what those things are that are really working and then focus on them, it makes such a profound difference to your business. And if I give you a really, really good example. So one of the things we looked at, especially with our VAs, is certain stores deliver more deals than others. We know that for a fact. But if we target our VAs at those stores, more often than not, statistically speaking, we get more deals. You know, it kind of stands to reason. So what I'm challenging my team leads to do is to look at the business objectively, to look at it and say, is there something we're missing? And can we do something better? So really interestingly enough, I'm challenging them to start thinking, to start really not just doing a set job, but to say, how can we do it better? Now, it kind of leads quite nicely onto another thing I'm doing with my purchasing manager, and the fact that he originally obviously came from sourcing. Now, the one thing he does, obviously, he wanted to do was jump into sourcing. And I said to him, I said, look, you've got a team of sourcers working for you. If he goes out there and, let's say, for example, he finds a voucher code, or maybe he finds like a store with a good sale on, if he goes and sources it, for every hour he might find, let's say, 2 or 3 deals. But if he directs his team to it, they might find, if we've got 5 people sourcing, they might find 15 deals in that time. So interestingly enough, the analogy I kind of used him was like, he's a general in the army and he's got Marines. And if he targets his Marines into what he's going to do, into really strategic strikes, they can deliver wonders for him. But if he doesn't give them, should we say, clear, concise information, if he doesn't help guide them, then they can just aimlessly float around. Now, interesting enough, the one thing which I always do say to my team is that at the end of the day, we don't really care about them just doing a job. What we care about is results. So I am interested in the number of deals they find. So my purchasing manager always comes back to them and say, hey guys, there are stores here with good sales on, there is this happening, I'd really recommend you look at these. But at the end of the day, it's up to the VA to make the decision. Now, more often than not, my purchasing manager is going to give them good advice, good market intelligence, which is going to make a difference to their sourcing ability. And they'll find me more deals. The business is a winner. And then the final thing I'll just talk about purchasing manager when we kind of go through it is that the very interesting thing is my purchasing manager made, or should we say, talked about the Playmobil purchase, the Playmobil store. He was buying deals from Playmobil. Now, he had a lot of deals in his shopping basket. He came back, and then obviously what happened, the price had changed, so it was no longer an offer. But he checked again 6 hours later, and those offers were available again. Now, what was really, really interesting was for him, and I said to him, record that like you would never believe, because it's that market intelligence, it's that information which is super key. And you know what? We've already got deals that normally you might say, no, they're not valid anymore, kick them out. But because we understand the market changes in Playmobil, for example, how they price, his job now is literally every hour, reload that page. If the price has dropped, now we can buy it. So he has that market intelligence about a certain store that most people wouldn't, and it wouldn't work. So for us is to say, gathering that market intelligence, understanding what's going on, and putting that intelligence into play is allowing our business to grow massively, more beyond him going out and sourcing. So number 3, I'm really working on my purchasing manager and improving them. And I think what I'm really trying to say is I'm trying to get them to learn from what's working and what's not, and to do more of it. Right, number 4 is networking. Now, one of my goals for 2020 is to help 2 new people every single week. And if you don't know, in my FastTrackFBA group, pretty much every Tuesday, I'll release a calendar invite that anyone can book themselves in for a half an hour free consultation with me. You know, I don't know the answers, but I'm just happy to help. And hey, being in Vietnam, it's really nice to talk to people about Amazon. But I recently did an interview with a guy called Luke Dugan, Mr. FBA UK. Now, I'll drop a link to it up here. Now, what was really interesting out of that is he talked about a lot of things. We talked about like systemizing, scaling, building replenishable lists. And I completely agree. And this was really interesting. But there was one really big message which just really shone for me, that really stood out, and I said, I am missing a trick here. I am missing a trick that I could not even believe was happening. So if I summarize that interview with Luke Dugan, he told me that he was doing £84,000 over December, Christmas, on his own. He was prepping himself, buying himself, and shipping it all, doing it all. No VAs, nothing. And he was taking the weekends off. Maybe he might work on the odd weekend, but during Q4. But generally, he's got quite a nice life. And he's doing £84,000 in revenue, and he did it. He did 10 grand in profit. Great margins, really happy with that. And hey, all on his own, well done. Now look, my question is like, what is he doing? And what was really interesting was he said over the course of the year, he probably only has 250 products in stock, of which only 250 products that he knows about, i.e. replenishable deals. And then number 2 is the fact that he only has 100 products in stock, and he just bulk buys a massive amount when they're available, and then they sell through. And then he bulk buys another one, sell through. And he's doing that for about 100 lines at any one time, and all he's doing is just repeating around that cycle. Now, do you know what's super interesting is the fact that, I don't know, I looked at FastTrackFBA and we have something like 19,000 deals we've submitted through our system since we started. 19,000! That's like crazy amounts. And Luke Dugan is doing 90,000-ish on 250 deals. So the really interesting thing that stuck out for me was the fact that it isn't about finding new deals, it's about making the most of what you've already got. And the thing I talked to my purchasing manager was about, saying how in Christmas, Luke literally knows the 5 stores that he wants to buy from, and he has his top selling lines, which will come back in stock at some time, and every couple of hours, every day, he just refreshes those pages, and he's waiting for them to come back in stock. And I said to my purchasing manager, I was like, we already know what sells, we know the volume it sells, we know the profit it makes, and we know that if we can buy it, it's going to make us a fortune, but we can't buy it. So I said to my purchasing manager, there is more money to be made just by him sitting there refreshing 5 pages than there is going out and sourcing new deals. So what was really interesting is that I'd completely missed that. I'd completely missed that opportunity. I completely missed that insight, that way of doing Amazon. And hey, there are so many different ways of doing Amazon, but there are so many things that are so simple, but you just don't even think about them. Bringing this back, number 4, I'm going to be networking like there is no tomorrow, because there are many things which I don't know. Even after 3 years of selling on Amazon and doing 6 figures, there's a lot I don't know. And hey, I want to up my game. And hopefully what I can do is record some of those calls, share them with you, and share my insights into it about how other people are running their businesses. And hey, maybe I can help you, and I can help me. But number 4, network, network, network. So hopefully you found that video useful. It is a short guide to what I'm going to be doing in May. And look, if you're doing something different, or maybe you've got some questions about something that I'm doing, be sure to drop it down in the comments below. And hey, if you like these kind of videos, give me a good thumbs up. I love a good thumbs up. And then finally, be sure to click the subscribe button, and that is going to notify you the moment any new videos come out. But from me, Thomas Parkinson, FastTrackFBA, thank you very much.